Hi, this is Raj. Namaste, and here we are once again to explore things that just goes to the very depth of things that are going to be inspiring or ordinary things that have scaled up to be extraordinary. And today we have exactly a person who does not believe in doing ordinary but have moved to do extraordinary, not just one day but day after day, years after years, and his full life is now dedicated to do something much better, to push the bar higher. And we have none other than Father, yes, Father Paul Max Pereira, the man who believes that doing ordinary is not good enough. And I take you to Father Paul Max, and he would introduce a very brief thing about himself. And Father, please.
Well, I'm just Father Balmax Pereira, just an ordinary human being who has got into different roles for different purposes. And as you have said, yes, in order to be extraordinary, there are so many roles to be played. And that is what I am, I feel. I'm Father Balmax Pereira, parish priest of Chikali. And Chikali, Goa. And I teach botany at St. Joseph Vaz College, Cortali, Goa.
So that's what it makes it a little interesting for us to understand that, Father, in a normal setup, you have the church and you have the parish priest, and he does his duties and limits mostly to those duties. Whereas you don't believe in doing such things. I have seen you for so many years now that you get involved to a point where you are chock-a-blocked for the whole day, right from early morning 5:30 to late night 11:30, 12. So what is it that really keeps you moving on this?
Well, it is not something that is done on purpose. It is a flow of my life that just flows. And it flows because I believe in doing what I have to do. The potential that is within me has to come out. Otherwise, I will feel less. So give whatever I can give till I am alive. Once I cross the side, I won't be able to give anything more. So give it as I am alive.
That's a very strong message, Father, where today in this world, people think about I, me, myself, whereas you are thinking what is it that you can give, and that itself is probably your rocket fuel that you get up in the morning and you think what is it that I can give. But having said that, you have not limited your academics also to just graduation or post-graduation. You also went further to do your doctorate. What was it? Are you mentally kind of programmed to research and figure out the depth of the issue, or it was just an academic exercise?
Well, as far as my academics are concerned, my academics are not pre-planned. I have found that my life as it goes ahead has got everything that is required to shape it in a better way. And whenever I got an opportunity, I never missed it.
Wow.
I just took the opportunity and reshaped my life. For example, I joined a seminary when I was in 8th standard.
Oh my God.
So I was a kid. I did not understand the world. Yes. But as I was getting to understand the world better, people in the world better, relationships in the world better, and the things that are on offer in this world, there was a time when, I could have gone the other way and not the way where I am going today.
Yeah.
But I have found that at that particular moment where I had to have a next step, I have got, or somehow it was supplied to me in a way where it has shaped my life today. I'm a priest, and all my life from 8th standard till I became a priest, I studied only for priesthood. Philosophy, theology,
Yes.
and plus the pastoral experience that is required, we call it regency.
Yeah.
So even while doing that, the other part of the world being academics, where today's youth, today's generation is going after so many degrees, so many posts. Although my attention was never on those posts or never on those degrees, somehow when I required them for a purpose, they have come my way. After completing my graduation, it is a normal way that from 8th standard
Yes,
up
yes.
till
Yeah.
12th standard, then we do our philosophy,
Yeah.
then we go for graduation.
Yeah.
So after graduation, we are not required to do more in order to become priest.
Oh.
So then it comes to theology. So I have done my theology also. But after doing my theology, I got an opportunity to do my MSc. That was not planned. That is what I was saying. I had not planned that after becoming a priest, I will do my MSc.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it soon after my BSc, but it did not happen at that time.
Okay.
But after becoming a priest, the opportunity came just like that, where I had not planned it. A scientist at Goa State Council for Science and Technology, where opposite that Science and Technology department is a seminary, where I was posted as a prefect to take care of the kids who are trying to become priests.
Oh.
So that time I was teaching science in the seminary, and I conducted a quiz. I happened to conduct a science quiz at that time in 2007 with new technology type, audio visual, and an interesting science quiz. So which was liked by them, and the scientist just happened to say to me, after I told him that I've completed my BSc in botany, why don't you do your MSc, father? So, of course, after a lot of yes and no, I grabbed the opportunity. And with his help, with his guidance, I did my MSc at that time.
So, Father, you believe on one side you have a very structured program that is academically oriented, and on the other side, since you are a priest, you have a divine plan. What I understand and I gather is as much as you were on the spiritual path of priesthood, parallelly you were drawn in the sense without your intention, where you had these impulses and you had these little motivations which were pushing you towards doing your academics parallelly. So how would you define something like a divine plan and something which was academic? Do they fuse together, or they are two different independent poles, you know?
Well, as a child, even you will remember whenever we used to, sign those books.
Yeah.
Favorite word. I used to write intelligent.
Oh, wow.
So intelligence is one of the words that caught my attention, because I felt that God has given me enough intelligence, and if God has given me enough intelligence, then it has to be used.
So you believe that God has made everyone so unique, and God has given each one the free will to decide as to how he can find a purpose in life.
Exactly. God has given me a purpose, and if He has given me a purpose, He has also given me the ways to come to that purpose. So those are the things, the ways, I would say, are in simple nature, in the simple things that we do.
So what you are hinting at is we should be, or rather the youngsters today should be open to these opportunities and grab those opportunities and move ahead to in a way which I call scale up their own game, So is it something similar to what am I saying is, or you have your different?
We say opportunity seldom knocks a second time. Very few times the opportunity will come again. But if the opportunity has come your way, it is for a purpose. There is a purpose for that opportunity. It has not just come, just because it is there, it has come your way. It cannot be. It has come for a purpose. So if you miss that opportunity, I feel you have missed that purpose.
But Father, what you are doing in the village, especially gathering all the youth and youngsters and kind of pushing them into an agricultural activity, you have gone and done the replantation of so many areas. You have cultivated barren agricultural land,
Mm.
and those youths have suddenly found something very fulfilling. So you, and in other words, actually you have created an opportunity for them.
Mm.
So I look at it, God has given you the power to create opportunities also. In other words, everyone has as much as they have their own opportunities, they can also create opportunities for others,
Yeah.
which comes back to your primary philosophy of giving. Was this the driving force, or was it the other bigger environmental thing which is sadly happening here in Goa, where the environment is getting deteriorated day by
See,
day?
one thing that I believe in is, if anything is given to me, it is not for just for me. It is to be shared, because we are in the world, or we are a part of a creation that is connected. We are interconnected. I'm connected to you as a human person. I'm connected to those plants as creation. I'm connected to all those wild animals and all others as part of creation. And I feel I'm even connected to the non-living beings like stones and mud and water, because from them comes the life. I am living, they are non-living, but I am connected to them. So that is where comes my theory of ecology. It is not a bookish knowledge for me. Ecology is not just bookish. Ecology is within me. It is my life. So that is where I see the connection. We are interconnected, and something that is given to me has to pass on. It has to go to others also.
It has to flow.
Yes. So if it does not flow, then it will get stagnant. And if it becomes stagnant, it is not going to help me as well. So if it remains fresh, even though it has gone, it has flown, but it is beneficial for me because it is fresh. If I keep it hoarded over there, it will get stagnated, and it can even kill me.
That's very interesting, because in the Vedic practice, we believe that each and every creation in the universe, not limited only to the earth, is interconnected.
Yeah.
And it is so beautiful that you, through your own evolution and philosophy and self-study, could find this connection. And I'm so happy that you are trying to connect these little dots with the future, the you. And I recollect personally in school, the father asked us to do a small kitchen garden, and that I personally find it was the bond that I have today, where I'm so concerned about the environment, where it pains to see even a branch being cut. So I think what you are doing is actually sowing these seeds of great global citizens who would be sympathetic and who would have empathy towards the environment. Do you want to elaborate as to what exactly you have, the bigger picture with this group of youngsters?
Well, one word that you spoke to me is about inspiring others. Sincerely speaking, it is not my intention to inspire anybody. Instead of inspiring others, I just want to be what I am. And as I am what I am and what I am doing, if it is acceptable to you, and if you are getting inspired, then okay, you can see it as an inspiration. For me, it is more of an expression.
Oh, wow.
This is what I am. So anything that I do, anything that I say to express rather than to impress.
Oh, wow. So what you are is actually you are the action. You are not just the words. Your action represents you, and those actions are the biggest example to inspire someone.
Exactly.
There are many who just talk and that's about it. I'm so happy, Father, that you came and you expressed your view. I'm sure the viewers who are having a look at our podcast would surely get inspired by this. I look forward to more interaction with you, because you have so much of depth and you have so much of knowledge and you have so much to give that I'm sure one podcast is not enough. Thank you so much.
Sure, as much as I can give, I will never hesitate to give it till it flows to somebody else next.
So here we are at the end of yet another podcast, and today it was really very inspiring, one of the most inspiring podcasts that we had till date. And giving and simply giving is the message of this podcast, and I'm sure each one can give it whatever they have in their own way, and we believe that this could probably lead to a path that I call the path to liberation, living that liberated Prana.